So we're live. Um, so yeah, this is going to be a probably very a quick live stream, of course. Probably to follow on. Certainly for later. Of course, as many people had seen and suspected over the weekend, that Boris Johnson would have a vote of no confidence in him called today. Obviously, we confirmed that this morning. And of course, the vote has been called very, very quickly, even happening today. Initially, people thought that it might be called Wednesday, but no, certainly seems they have called it today. And it is started just 26 minutes ago. The voting officially opened 26 minutes ago for the vote. And MPs, Conservative MPs, have already started voting. Which way is it going to happen? We'll get into that in a bit, but Helen Wilkes is spoiling us with 2 live streams. Well, when stuff like this happens, you've got to follow it. Like I say, I'm in my hotel room in London, just about to go out a bit and meet up with some people for just a quick drink, and then of course off on the Eurostar tomorrow over to Brussels, and then from there on to Bruges. So, like I say, looking forward to that. But as we said, voting has started, and from what we've seen throughout the day, we've got no real inclination of how this is going to go. I generally don't know how this is going to go. David, hope for the Tories grow a spine. Not holding my breath though. So I sort of agree with you there, David. It's going to be. It could go either way. I really do think that. I think this is going to go so 50-50 on this. I think it could go so 50. Did you bring a passport and digital vaccination proof? Yes. I've got my passport, and of course I've got my NHS app on my phone. So I'm way too invested in this, even though I'm not British. I blame you and your channel. Good. Good. Just shows I'm putting out some good content. But like I say, for those of you just joining me, voting for the no confidence vote started roughly around 28 minutes ago, probably is now. We will know the final tally at 9 o'clock later on this evening, and we will find out. But essentially, of course, all the Tory rebels need is more than 180 votes, and Boris is gone. But of course, equally, Boris also needs 180 votes. And in fact, it's actually worth commenting on sort of the history of no confidence votes that have happened in the past for Tory leaders. From, just recently, Theresa May had a vote of no confidence, and 6 months later, Theresa May was gone. John Major had a vote of no confidence in him. He lost the next general election. Margaret Thatcher had a vote of no confidence vote in her, and of course didn't even make it to the next general election. There is a history and a pattern of Conservative leaders who have had a no confidence vote called in them, survived it, but it has wounded them, and they have been a limping animal ever since that vote. So if Johnson survives, unless he gets more than 300 Conservative MPs voting for him, unless that happens, he ain't, then he can just just draw a line under it, and I think he can move pretty much on from all this. But It's very doubtful that he'll get that. It'll be very doubtful. Will he survive? I said before at the beginning, I think this will go either way. I think this could be a very, very 50-50 vote. Um, it is. It could go either way. Um, I think it will be close. But obviously, we'll be waiting till 9 o'clock tonight to find out really what could happen. How many are they? There's 360 Tory MPs voting tonight. Obviously, between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Obviously, to essentially secure his win, he will need to essentially ensure that at least 180 MPs vote to secure him. But it could really go either way. And even if he wins, the thing will be, how much did he actually win by? Because let's say about 200 support him. Let's say he gets that. That's still not good. Only about 200 of your MPs still support you, and an even more significant number do not support you, do not give you confidence. And as we just mentioned a few moments ago, there is a history of Conservative prime ministers having a vote of no confidence in them, having that vote of no confidence in them, and then just being a wounded animal. And essentially, the verdict being delivered upon them a few months later. So even if Johnson does survive, it does in no way guarantee his safety. And that will be one thing we'll be watching out later. What the what the over and under will be for his survival. But needless to say, I don't think it's going to go good for him. I really do not think this is going to go good for him at all. It will be interesting, of course, but I don't think he's going to survive either way. Even if he wins, he just becomes another wounded animal. Johnson survived but forced to resign after disastrous local elections. Yeah, after the by-elections. I'm surprised that this vote didn't come after those. That's what I was expecting for at least the vote to happen, or at least the letters to arrive very quickly after the by-election. But I don't think Johnson has a long way to do it. I hope he wins by like one vote or something, and then destroys the Tories in a political civil war. That could happen. I think the vote's going to be close. I don't think it's going to go either way. I think they will either win, and of course, even if they win by one vote, Johnson's gone, and then that kickstarts a leadership contest. If Johnson wins, even by one, or just by a couple, it's not good for him. It really isn't good for him. How can you stay the leader of that party? We've already heard the potential of if Johnson does win, he will take vengeance on those MPs. He will call an early election and remove the whip from them. A lot of those MPs have said, even if Johnson wins by like the skin of his teeth, then they will just start boycotting voting. That will seriously damage the Conservatives. You generally don't know which way this is going to go. I think it's going to be very, very close. I really do. But we'll find out later at 9 o'clock. I suppose. Um, but yes, I will. Like I say, we'll see you all then for for the vote in particular. Um, Jack, whatever the most damaging the Conservatives is obviously the most appealing outcome. By my arithmetic, that means we want Johnson to stay, uh, but for the party to be horrifically damaged. Even if he does stay, the party's already horrifically damaged because you cannot. Again, you look at the history of this when this has happened in the past. Theresa May, John Major, Margaret Thatcher all had votes of no confidence called in them, and they did not survive long after. They were very, very much wounded by those votes of no confidence. So, yeah, hotel room or bar. I'm just in my room at the moment, just doing a very quick one. Like I say, this is going to be a very quick live stream just to fill all of you in of what's been going on. But yeah, most Conservative MPs, like I say, they've already started voting. Like I say, the voting opened at 6. So what? It's 6:37 at the moment. So obviously voting's been open for 37 minutes, but we won't know the result at least until 9 o'clock tonight. I will I shall bring a live stream to you for that to find out what's going to happen then. But needs to say, we've talked about several times the possibility of what a Tory leadership election will be like on this channel, and I've said it lots. It will be an absolute bare knuckle brawl, absolute bare knuckle, and the two front runners haven't changed. It's still Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, and also, as I've said multiple times, if Liz Truss gets to the final two and it comes into voting intentions, she'll walk it. She is still the most popular member of parliament by a country mile. She will walk it. So, needless to say, I think it's going to be a close one. As to which way, obviously, I can't really say. There's still been a lot of Conservative MPs tweeting out the support, but obviously, as I've said before, this is going to be a secret ballot. So while they may publicly say one thing, what they do on the ballot box may be completely something different. Is that an imperial or standard file? Who knows? Who can say? Take your pick. But yeah. Mithril. I suspect Bohard will win. Maybe tight, though. Let's not forget the Tories are all about holding on to power. Even if you are right, I do think it will be a very close one. But even if he does survive, it is worth pointing out that historically, pardon me, bless me. It is worth pointing out historically that when these types of events have happened to Conservative leaders, again, Theresa May, John Major, even Margaret Thatcher, they did not last long after their vote of no confidence. They were forced to resign by other means or other measures, or, in the case of John Major, losing an election. I really don't think he can win in a significant number. I think he can win, but not in a significant enough way to be truly safe. He needs for that to happen, he needs at least 300 or more. He needs at least that or more. And if he doesn't get that, he isn't going to survive. His position is not safe. Like I say, whatever happens tonight, it will be dependent on, of course, the numbers. There's a good chance, of course, he can lose. And at that point, it doesn't matter. Even if he loses by 1, he's lost. And then that kickstarts a leadership contest. If he wins by 1, the pressure on him to go will be insurmountable. But what can PMs do to force him out? They can, as we've discussed before, some rebels have already discussed the fact that they will just start boycotting votes. They just won't vote for anything for Johnson, so they can do that. Some we've heard might, dare we say, cross over. That is always a possibility. So it's what happens, really. That's obviously a future possibility, but we really don't know what's going to happen. He's got Nadine Dorris's vote, so he's doomed. Nico Smith, does he care? Yeah, absolutely. Boris does care about this. He really does. If to reiterate the point, historically, any Conservative leader who has had these types of no confidence vote called in them have not survived too much longer after. So it's what happens after this as well, and of course we don't know what's his way. I don't begrudge Alexander winning by a majority of one vote. That could potentially happen, though. That is a potential. That is a potential win for him. That is an absolute potential win for him. Did you see Nadine Dorris's car wreck interview on Sky News? I haven't seen her new interview. No, I haven't seen that, David. Results of the past are no guarantee for the future. In this case, certainly so. Because, like I say, you've got Theresa May, John Major, Margaret Thatcher, all had votes of no confidence called in them, and they were wounded from that point on. They were wounded animals who found it even more harder to do what they were trying to do, to rule, to be like the PM, and they did not last too much longer after their votes of no confidence. So even if he does win, it's difficult for them to kind of continue on, and especially when you might get a case of like at least 100 or more Tory MPs are like, we don't support you, we don't have confidence in you. So it's really, really difficult to guess which way this is going to go. Colin Thompson, Theresa May voted while wearing a ball gown. Yes, there is someone who is probably enjoying this moment very, very much. But can you blame her? Can you blame Theresa May for like seriously enjoying this moment? I really don't think you can. I think she is enjoying this to the fullest. I really think she is. I really do think she is. I think she's watching this and taking it all in with a stride. Sentient being has been hard on Boris, Brexit, COVID, then Russia. He's doing great. Why punish him over a silly party? He really isn't doing great on Brexit. To quote, "Get Brexit done." He didn't get Brexit done. He's basically threatening to break international law over the Northern Ireland Protocol, over a deal that he made, which was apparently this incredibly great deal that was oven ready. So that isn't doing well. Boris Johnson did not do well on COVID at all. Look at our death rate. I think we're still in the top 5 for death rates COVID. We didn't have the fastest vaccine rollout, despite what Johnson and other Conservatives might say. Um, the only thing he has done, which I'll give you, is Russia. But then again, anyone could get the Russia call right, to be honest. Um, yeah, because Russia's absolutely in the wrong over what they are doing. So it's the most easiest call to make. So it's about the only thing, to be honest, that Johnson's actually got right in this whole thing. Is it possible to get a 52 percentage? I don't really know, to be honest, what it would be. Yes, somewhere David Cameron is also smiling. That's probably because he just watched Charlotte's Web. That's fun. I like that. Nathan DeWise, really hope he survives the vote and survives as well. Johnson's the best recruiting sergeant for Scottish independence. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Like I say, we won't know till 9 o'clock tonight. Maximilian Phil and Political X, and yourself had to return from holiday for the past 6 years every time. Very true. Yeah, either way, it is hammer time. You are right, Duke Avengers. It is. It's going to go down, I think, very hard. This hammer. Um, just how hard, you can't really say. But we'll have to wait and see. Like I say, that's been the update. That's all we know so far. Um, what does Elizabeth do when she actually becomes PM? Yeah, Sean O'Neill. Alistair Campbell says Boris Johnson will win this one, but he's fatally wounded. I think that's a possibility as well. And like I say, history shows that when this happens to Conservative prime ministers, they get seriously wounded. It's very hard for them to carry on. Theresa May, after her vote of no confidence, only lasted 6 months. Um, you know, this isn't going anywhere. This really isn't going anywhere. Um, I think you're going to get possibly a situation where maybe Johnson survives, but then of course it's what happens after. It's very much what can happen after this. Um, hopefully Bojo can hang in. He's very close to guaranteeing Irish unification and Scottish independence. That's a very sorry argument for Scottish independence if it's just Boris Johnson, wants it. I'd hope you're not basing your vote just on that. Yeah, Daniel Hanan's message about now I support staying in the single market. What an opportunist! What an opportunist! Yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg said that as well. Oh yeah, also saying that it's a Remainer plot and that Remainers are behind this, but most of the people who have been most vocal about their opposition to Boris Johnson and even publicly saying they've actually submitted letters and intend to, vote against him, have been Brexiteers. LBC reporter the Commons just said there's possibly up to 150 against Johnson. Even if that many, that's a prime minister in serious trouble. Like 150 people in your party against you, actively against you. That is a significant number against you. Very significant. Yeah, this Theresa May, now it's Boris. Yeah, very true. It's I don't know how he survives. Like, even if he wins, unless he gets more than 300 votes, unless Johnson seriously survives this and gets like 300 votes, that's the only way he can seriously, as Johnson said multiple times, move on from Partygate. But even then, there is an inquiry happening in the next couple of weeks that is going to investigate the Downing Street flat parties. So we're going to hear more about Partygate, not only the ABBA party, but another party that also wasn't investigated by the police and Sue Gray. And they are going to be asking questions about that. So Partygate ain't over, folks. It ain't over. It's just going to roll on and do even more and more damage. But yeah, it's going to kick off tonight at 9 o'clock, I think. Where's Dominic Cummings? Probably hiding around the back of Downing Street somewhere. Probably hiding around the back of Downing Street. Yeah, only Nigel Farage is better than Johnson. My concern is that we'll get someone like Jeremy Hunt. It's easy to represent him as the, quote, sensible face of the Tory party. Possible. I mean, Hunt is another serious candidate for the leadership contest. And it's not just him. You've got people like Tobias Elwood, the Defence Committee guy, Priti Patel potentially throwing a hat in the ring there as well. Michael Gove, even. There's a lot of potential candidates. And a lot of them today have come out and said, oh, yeah, we support Boris Johnson. But if Boris goes, you get your, shot at the top slot, guys. So what is it, Game of Thrones? Is it Game of Thrones where they say it? If you shoot for the king, you better not miss because you don't get another chance or something like that. Is it Game of Thrones? Can't remember. Yes, the result is around 9 o'clock, so I'm going to be going live and a bit later. Like I said, this was just a live stream quickie just to fill you guys in on what's happening. I'm going to be back at maybe a bit before. We'll be watching intently, seeing what could happen here, but I think it's going to be close. I really do think it's going to be close. I really do think it's going to be close. If Patel wins, you're donning your V for Vendetta gear. Thank you for that. No problem, Stephanie. But the under-over is, to be honest, before we go, the under-over is basically this. The under-over is that Johnson survives, and unless at least 300 of the voters support him, of the Conservative Party support him, then he can generally move on. That will be a win. Like, that will be the win. That is the win condition tonight. He has to get 300 Conservative MPs to back him, that is Johnson's win condition. At that point, he can well and truly, quote, move on from this. There is a possibility, which has been discussed, because I think this is where it will go, of it could go either way. Johnson will either hang on, but there will be a significant enough Tories to vote against him, and that puts him in trouble. Or he loses the vote, because he only has to lose by one to lose. But as we said before, historically, when you look at other Conservative prime ministers who have had votes of no confidence and even win those votes of no confidence, it has wounded them significantly enough that they weren't able to continue in their position. So historically, even if Johnson does survive, he is done. There was an interesting article on Conservative Home with the main writer for Conservative Home, and bear in mind, Conservative Home is like the it's like almost the spiritual hub, I suppose, of conservative think pieces of it. Even they have just, I think it was about an hour ago, the guy who owns Conservative Home wrote a blog basically saying, regardless of whatever happens tonight, Johnson is done. He is finished. Even Oakeshott, an absolute out and out Boris Johnson cheerleader, has come and said, do your duty tonight, guys. Vote him out. Move on. Get someone else in. Just get rid of Johnson. So the worm has really and truly turned. So even if Johnson wins tonight, remember, the only true win condition for Johnson is if he gets over 300 votes. That is Johnson's true it is Conservative think pieces, not more. It is, unless he gets that 300 number, that's his true win condition. Anything else, and it's a loss. Even if he gets enough to win, he becomes a wounded animal, and it is literally a slow death. Whether that be in 6 or 12 months' time, something else happens, or maybe he manages to limp to the general election and then loses spectacularly in the general election. That is what we're looking at generally. Can it go to a second ballot? No. It used to, under old rules, but they changed it, so they got rid of the second ballot. So it's only one now. I like that, Duke of Vengeance. There once was a fellow called Boris who didn't fancy Nadine Dorries. He pissed off the country by having a mass of great parties. But at long last, he's got his rigor mortis. That was almost a limerick there. Almost. I liked how that was. I liked how that was starting. You just need to work on the ending, because I like that. There once was a fellow called Boris who didn't fancy Nadine Dorries. I like that. I like that a lot. The beginning has a lot of potential. Yeah, he does tend to be rather lucky, but I look forward to see Laura Kuenssberg breaking down in tears. Partygate needs to keep bumping around until these Tories are in the opposition. Well, remember, there is a select committee. The select committee are now looking into Partygate, and they are going to be investigating those two parties that took place in the Downing Street flat, the infamous ABBA party, and there was another one that happened as well. They'll be looking into those as well. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least. It's going to be very, very interesting. So, like I say, thank you for joining me for this quick update. I'll see you all later. I'm just going to bob out now quickly. And yeah, we'll see you back probably here for the results. I'll be around probably before a bit before 9 o'clock. Luckily, I've got a TV in my room, so we can listen into what's happening on Sky News or somewhere else if it's happening somewhere else. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be close. I really do. But even if Boris wins, he's going to carry on, or at least stagger on, with a very, very significant limp. So yeah, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, we will see you, probably in a few hours' time. if BM falls asleep, I'm leaving the stream. Well, like I say, we'll see you all in a bit for, what happens. So yeah, we'll see you all soon.